So stay with me. You ready? Raiders! Yeah, now we warmed up. See, that's what we're talking about.
Welcome to the Put on Waivers Media Group, home of the Put on Raiders podcast and the Student Body Right podcast. This is your place for the best breakdowns and the best insight for those who fight on and bleed silver and black. Now, here are your hosts, Dwayne Douglas and Ryan Holmes.
Welcome, everybody, to the glorious episode of the Put on Raiders podcast. I'm your host, Dwayne Douglas, and I am podcasting off the beautiful shores of the Pacific Ocean. Beautiful day out here in Southern California. PORSBR is my Twitter handle. All that stuff, all that good stuff right there for the Raiders training camp. Everything's getting, before you know it, it'd be time for week one at SoFi against the Chargers. We have a special guest on our show today. He's no stranger to the show, Marcus Johnson, Tape Don't Lie, all those things like that. Also has on another show on Friday nights. As well, talking Raiders football. One of the top guys out here for that. So let's just jump right into it. Marcus, how you doing today?
Good, man. How you doing, bro?
Good. All right. So I'm looking at this thing, and everybody's talking about ground and pound. And I'm thinking, like, Jets and Rex Ryan, all that stuff like that. But what I'm really looking at is, and that's why I sent you that that laughable list of where the Raiders ranked as far as skill position goes. Mm-hmm. There is a lot of mouths to feed on this offense, and they kind of got to throw the ball 30 times a game. They can't be like the Niners and just like throw the ball like at least amount of times in the season. Whoever the quarterback is, what are your feelings about like how much they're going to be to throw the football here? Because I mean, when you have Bowers, and you have Mayer. Looks like Mayer sounds like he took yoga and feels more agile, more flexible. Like you got like Tucker comes back and can make plays. You got the two receivers in Devante and the other guy. It just they got so many weapons. It's like, how do you get through a season and just try to say you're going to be 3 yards in a cloud of dust?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they do, man, with passing the football. I think, especially if Aiden O'Connell is a starter, which it kind of looks like it's going that way. I know he's not separating himself in camp, but, we don't know how the team actually feels about him in, like, training with the meetings and how they actually see him running the offense. We don't know that for sure yet. So I think when they throw the ball, they got to do play action at least 35 to 40% of the time. That's going to be the thing if they are really throwing the football. It's got to be a lot of that. I mean, if we put up 30 throws, we got to have like at least 12 play action throws.
Yeah.
Mixed in there with that. So, because one thing with Aiden O'Connell, his passer rating in play action last year was actually over 100. His passer rating without it was 78. So that kind of shows that split there, what it is with play action, without it. So it's going to be very important for them. If they're going to be ground and pound, they're going to have to do a lot of play action passes. And you even saw today in camp, some of his best completions were in play action today in camp. So that was the thing that they're going to have to focus on that. And, manufacturing some yards too, doing some swing routes out to Devante Adams, screen passes to Myers, screen passes to Bowers, screen passes to, different guys like that. I mean, you can even throw screen passes to Michael Mayer, to be honest. Yeah. So they're gonna have to find ways to manufacture completions too as well. And I think they're gonna mix it in with all those guys. But I still think Adams is gonna be used the most, because I think where he's gonna be used differently this year is he's gonna be used in a lot of those short areas, because he's one of the best choice route runners in the NFL. And he's going to give a lot of teams problems inside if they use him that way. And I think that's got to be the goal here, is to make sure that you use him that way, and then you be interchangeable with some of these other guys. But, it's even when I was there at training camp on the short passes and stuff like that, O'Connell was he looked good. So, moving the ball, getting the ball, and they get the ball out of his hands quick, and, avoid him having to deal with pressure a lot. You see him look pretty decent. So that's how they got to mix it up. They got to do a lot of play action, to be successful this year.
Yeah, I mean, you can do that on first down when you haven't even run the ball yet. So like, so that's a, that's something we'll see if Getsy can get done. JPJ, Colton Miller. Colton Miller doesn't miss a lot of games, a veteran, top 12, a left tackle in the game. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and let him come back when he's ready. I think Colton Miller knows when he's ready. Any concerns about, JPJ just not starting off the season with the team? I mean, on the field, because I obviously we all love the pick. He is physical. You see the USC shirt. I seen him firsthand in the Pac-12. He's a very gifted offensive lineman, but with a big butt, like can he stay healthy and get ready for the season? Because you want him at least halfway through camp to take the field with this team.
Yeah, I think he is a little. It's concerning. It is a little concerning because he got hurt at the Senior Bowl. He had to leave the Senior Bowl early. He got hurt. He got hurt, and then OTAs, right? OTAs, he got hurt like right away, and he was out of there after looking really good in rookie minicamp. It was raved about him, and then he got hurt. And then you go into training camp now. He's hurt again. They're saying that he should be coming back pretty soon here. I mean, they're just being cautious a little bit. But you are a little concerned there because putting Cody Whitehair is not a very good player in my opinion.
There you go.
Right?
There you go.
He's just not. He's not a very good player in my
Yeah.
opinion. And he's pretty washed up. He's better at center. He's actually been better at center his whole career.
Yep.
And when he played center last year, he actually looked pretty decent. So he's a damn center.
Yeah.
And he's our backup guard right now. And you kind of can see that when you're talking about in camp today. I mean, they have a lot of run stuffs, and a lot of that has to do with Cody Whitehair being out there, and even Pete being out there too at left tackle. So, and then Mumford has his he's have to deal with Max Crosby. That's gonna be tough for him. And it's probably get him ready for the season. But those guys and what they could do on the defensive side and on that defensive line, especially when you have Cody Whitehair out there, the offense is going to look very good. So it's important to get JPJ's back. He's really important for this team. He's important for this run game. If they want to be able to be ground and pound and smash mouth, he's super important because that's what he does best, and he's vicious there. And they need him to be healthy. And if he's not healthy, like I said, they putting Cody Whitehair out there, man. It's not gonna be the best experience for Aiden O'Connell or even Gardner Minshew. I mean, Gardner Minshew starter, it's not gonna be very fun for him either. He's not gonna have Quentin Nelson. It's not Quentin Nelson over there. So putting Cody Whitehair out there is gonna be tough. So that's why I'm a little worried about JPJ because they like Whitehair for some reason. I'm not sure. I mean, I know he knows the system and I know all that football stuff, but he just hasn't played well in like 3 years. So and it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And then you hear also the reports today how bad the interior is playing. It just doesn't give you a lot of hope if he's out there. So JPJ is important, and it does make you a little bit worried.
Yeah, it's amazing how many bad players fit systems in the National Football League. I think that's I just like we've been through it every year. Like with especially with Josh, he fits our system, but he's a bad player. Like is there any good players who fit your system on the offensive line? I can't. These guys, man, these guys. But we just have shows. We don't know shit, right?
Exactly.
We don't know nothing. Tight end. They did. We just have two dynamic guys. I was against the move to get Bowers. I thought if you weren't gonna get a quarterback, I was gonna say double down on offensive tackle. So maybe you could move away from Colton Miller down the road, or or just double down on defensive line, and go get Latu.
Yeah.
Fine. To me, it makes the blow a little. If he trends the way everybody says he's gonna trend, then it gives you an explosive, great playmaker who, if Devante is not on the team in the next couple of years, you have a number one option kind of guy in Bowers. But can you talk about the impact of him and Michael Mayer, who was already a really good pass catching tight end, and now seems to be more agile, more flexible, and all those things like that.
Yeah, I think watching Brock in person, you definitely see how dynamic he is, how fast he is. I think that's the first thing that you notice. Today they're talking about he had like a 20-yard run today, a 20-yard rush. So you could be very versatile with him. That's the thing. And I think Mayer is going to play a lot more than people think too. I know people talk about 12 personnel a lot, but he never came off the field when I was watching.
Okay.
It was you saw Bowers move around and Bowers go to X and all those things, but it was rare to see him lined up as a natural wide tight end. That was Michael Mayer all the time. He's lined up. Sometimes we had Harrison Bryant next to him, but most of the time it was Michael Mayer right there. So I think Michael Mayer is still going to be a vital part of this offense. I think just Tom Telesco is just being Tom Telesco. He was like, I'm not going to pass up on Brock Bowers, right? And the whole league was high on Brock Bowers, and I don't think they really had a plan for him to be coming to this team. And now that they're trying to adjust with it, I think they really did like Michael Mayer a lot, and and I think Getsy when he came on, and then they brought in Harrison Bryant. People talk about Brock Bowers hurt Michael Mayer. I think it hurt Harrison Bryant. Harrison Bryant probably got signed. He's like, hey, this is a 12 personnel guy. I'm gonna get a lot of playing time. He's like, I don't know about that anymore.
Not so much.
Not so much.
Not so much.
Not wrong. So I think Mayer is still gonna get a lot of play. I think there's even gonna be times where Mayer is out there on 11 personnel and Brock Bowers isn't, especially if he's playing well to start the year. So I think fantasy football fans are gonna be pissed about that, but I still think that there's gonna be Michael Mayer is gonna be very involved in this offense. And they're going to need it because if they run that play action and, like I said, those type of things is going to help. And then Michael Mayer he grew as a blocker last year a lot.
Yeah,
he looked like he started off in training camp and preseason looked like he couldn't block at all. And by mid-season, he looked like a pretty decent blocker at tight end, where he was blocking some of the best players, in the NFL at that position. So he has a lot of upside there. And I think with Brock Bowers, he's just going to be a piece that they move around. Like he was in the slot, he was at X, he was in the backfield. Yeah, so there's a lot of things they can do there with Brock Bowers.
Yep.
They just got to find a way and be creative. And Getsy, that's on Luke Getsy.
Yeah, that's on Getsy. All this talent, who's getting them the football here? And that's the question that a lot of Raider fans have. My biggest gripe with the Raiders is, okay, you moved on from Carr. He was here for 9 years. That's fine. It's okay. But as a owner, as an owner, general manager, the whole team, everybody who's involved with the Raiders, once Carr leaves the building, your very first job is to replace him. and you can't just replace him with the Brian Hoyers, the Jimmy G's. Like, you got to go out there and double down and invest. You got the Patriots freaking they drafted May and drafted Milton. There's like anybody else we could draft at quarterback. Like we're not gonna. I don't want to screw this up. So like let's get 3 of them. So somebody will do well. Like the Jaguars picked up Mac Jones as their backup. Like, you know what I mean? So like a guy who helped take a team to a playoff. Like the lack of investment in the position, and I'm not gonna kill ALC. The ALC didn't draft himself, and I'm not gonna kill Minshew because Minshew didn't sign didn't sign himself. But like between these two, who do you think is gonna be the guy? And like, are you just surprised that the team that let go of a 9-year veteran starter just did not really invest a lot of resources in that position?
Yeah, the big one is Josh McDaniels is the one who did invest in that position, right?
That's my guy.
You got to think about it, right? I mean, he thought he could win with Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't know what he thought that was a factor. That's what he thought. He thought Jimmy Garoppolo, that's all we need. I'll give Jimmy $23 million, and I'm gonna go out there and win.
Two press conferences.
and that's the big problem, because they're at 7 last year. So we can talk about trading up from 13 is tough. They're at 7. I mean, they could have got up to 3. I mean, the Cardinals went up to 12.
Yeah,
from 3, and then went back up to 6. So I mean, the Raiders were at 7. All the Cardinals had to do was go back to 7 with them, right? But he didn't like anybody else, right? Because Anthony Richardson would be like, totally different for the Raiders. And I know he had injury problems, but we don't know if that happens if he's in Las Vegas, So yeah. I mean,
Anthony Richardson with this allotment of offensive talent, I think I'd actually go to a game.
Yeah, you have more excitement, right?
Yeah.
And it's no knock on Aiden O'Connell. I think Aiden O'Connell is he can be a decent NFL quarterback. You know, I think he could be. I mean, I was just did my quarterback podcast, and you know, I was talking about he's probably going to be more of a Ryan Fitzpatrick, and the ceiling is Kirk Cousins type of guy, because I think we're gonna get some really good Aiden O'Connell games, and we're gonna get some terrible ones. But
Yeah.
I think the defense is gonna have to kind of make up for it, just like they did with the Chiefs game a little bit, and even what they kind of did with the Vikings game too a little bit. I mean, even though the Raiders didn't get any points in that game, but like it's they're gonna have to try to make up for it at some points. But I just feel like the highs will be better with O'Connell than they will be with Minshew. I think Minshew is going to be a steady of averageness, right? Like or below average.
Yes. Yes. No
O'Connell,
question about it.
we're gonna get like 4 high end games. We're like, man, maybe this guy could be a starter, and then we're gonna have a bunch like 4 games where it's like, oh, this guy should be in the NFL, and that's the thing with Aiden
Yeah.
O'Connell,
Yeah.
and that's the up and down that he has. He's had that his whole life. I mean, he's like that
Yeah.
Purdue, right? And there's some games at Purdue where he just looks fantastic.
He was
He's out there.
Dyson. He's Dyson. Dyson that produced some games, and some games you're like, is this guy a D1 quarterback? Like, what's going on? Like, yeah, it's weird.
it,
It's
and
super
and
weird.
and we saw it a little bit last year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's some games we're like, oh, maybe, and then like you're like, oh no. So
No, yeah.
it's so up and down. But I think if the Raiders can play defense, I think they can play around that
Yeah.
better than they could play with Minshew, who's just going to be below average the whole year, and you know he's going to be below average the whole year. O'Connell's going to
Yeah.
be so up and down that it's going to maybe lead to more wins than losses than with Minshew. Like you know what you're going to get. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know they could never bring back Brooke Hardigree, but it would have been nice if they had a comparable, if they had a competent offensive coordinator last year and to bring him back into the same offense. That would, I think that would help them a whole lot too as well. Are we? I mean, Jacorian Bennett. Are we? Do we have a CB2 or do I mean? Are we getting a CB2? And because it seems like everybody's liking the way he's playing, but that could be because the the defensive line is giving the quarterback 0.seconds to actually get a pass off.
See, Ja'Cory Bennett, I mean, he had a good camp last year though, too, man. I mean,
Oh, that's true. That's true.
same buzz
Yeah.
right out of camp. So, you know, to me, I'm looking at week 1 with him. He is having a good camp, man. When I was out there, he looked really good, right? He had a couple pass breakups when I was out there too. He looks pretty damn good out there. And you see a little bit of growth, see him getting better, you know, picking up coverages, knocking balls down, coming after some guys, making some plays. You know, he always was a pretty good tackler too. So they're gonna like a lot of those things, you know, because the Raiders are gonna play keep the ball in front of us because teams are gonna have to get rid of the ball quick. I mean, there's not gonna be a lot of deep passes. I think Epps and Morag are
Yeah.
a good tandem together. You know, they might not be great separately, you know, but I think together they're a good tandem, and I think they work really well together in the back end. They communicate very well, and so there's not gonna be a lot of deep passes here in against them. So I think you know Bennett might be protected that way. And then when they do the scheme and it's the second year in the scheme, you hope he's picking it up a little bit better.
Mhm.
But you know, I still think you know they should add a veteran out there,
Yeah. Makes sense.
somebody right that can they could trust. I mean, maybe they're really trusting Brendan Facion. I know they're going to play a lot of cover 3, and that's what he does really well. But yeah, they got to mix it up a little bit. Should try to do something there at corner, but Jacorian Bennett does look the part so far, and you know,
Yeah.
but like I said last year, he looked the part in camp too. Last year, that was the buzz. He won the job basically
Mhm.
in camp last year and got to start week 1. So maybe getting bench could lit a fire up under him a little bit. But yeah, he looks pretty good out there, man. It's not like something it's not a fake buzz, right? You
Yeah.
just hope that buzz carries on into the season and it plays out the same way.
Yeah. I liked him in college, so hopefully that comes to fruition for Las Vegas here. Um, Tyree, where does Tyree fit in this whole thing? Seems like the starting front four looks like it's going to be they have that already set up, but
Mhm.
obviously rotationally, what are some um, realistic goals we can have for Tyree Wilson here?
Yeah, I wouldn't have too many high goals from him. If we did like an over under, I wouldn't expect him to be like over 7 sacks or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think he's going to have a role though. And especially on third down, I think he's going to come in. I think it's going to be, a mixture of him and Adam Butler because Adam Butler's having a great camp. That's a kid who's
Mm,
having a really good camp, right?
mm.
So that puts it into the Tyree Wilson moving inside. It's like I don't know, is he should he like on third down or we probably should go Kuntz, Butler, Wilkins, and Crosby on third down, right? So yeah, Wilson has to get in where he fits in. But I think hopefully the Raiders could talk to Max and be like, you can't play 1,000 snaps, right?
Yes.
And we need you to be fresh, right? I mean,
We
we
almost
know what
lost
you.
you. We almost lost you in totality last year with your life. Like seriously, we cannot have you. We don't forget about missing games. You almost lost your life on the field. Like
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, seriously.
It's crazy. So hopefully we can get him down to like 800, and I think that's where Tyree Wilson really comes in, and where Janarius Robinson comes in too. Those type of guys
Yeah.
where we're have a rotation. Get Max off the field, man. And I know Max is good. You got to yell at him, and you have to probably carry him off the field on your back, and that's fine. But it's important that he plays like Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett plays like 600 snaps, bro. Like if you go look at their snaps, he literally plays like he plays 17 games.
Yeah.
He played like 600, 700 snaps. Same thing with like Michael Parsons. Michael Parsons plays like 600, 700 snaps. And these guys have these super high win rates, and PFF, says they're better than Max Crosby and all that. But I don't know about that. I think Max just plays so many damn snaps that that win rate's going to go down a little bit because he plays so much
Yeah.
and he's going to be a little bit more exhausted in the fourth quarter. And I know that's crazy to say. People are going to say he's never going to be exhausted, but this is real. This is football.
He is
Things
human.
happen.
He is
He's
human.
human.
He is
Exactly.
human. He is
And,
human.
and if you could get those rotations going in the first and second quarter, right? You get a lot of those rotations and get some less snaps for Max Crosby. You get Wilson moving in, maybe move Kuntz to where Crosby is, move Wilson over there. Then put Crosby back in, move Wilson, give give Kuntz a little bit of a breather, and keep those guys fresh.
Yeah.
That's gonna make this defensive line super effective because Wilson can play the run. So like if it's first down and you need to get somebody to rest, man, you can put him in there. He's gonna play the run and he's gonna do a good job out there. And I think he's gonna get better. He's a huge human being. He's one of the biggest human beings I've ever seen in my life in person.
Yeah. So everybody says that. Everybody
He's
says that. Yeah,
humongous.
yes.
So you look at him, you're like, man, you gotta do something, man. Or give me that body so I can
Yeah,
play for you.
so seriously,
Right?
seriously.
So
He's like somebody said that he was that he was a Madden created player. He's not actually a real player. He got created because the way his build is. It's pretty funny.
humongous, man. So
It's a
you
big
hope
dude.
that there's something happens with that where he's able to like at least set the edge, play the run really well,
Yeah.
do his job, and I've been saying this for weeks. Jermaine Johnson for the Jets sucked as a rookie. I'm hoping that Tyree Wilson does that where he could kind of rotate
Flip
in and
it.
have the
Yeah.
impact of Jermaine Johnson to the year two. Because then they moved on from Bryce Huff. Jermaine Johnson is going to be the starter now for the Jets. So like those are the type of things that maybe Tyree Wilson, you hope that he makes it more difficult for them to re-sign Malcolm Kuntz. I mean, that's the hope. And it sounds bad, but like that's you want that type of production out of him where you feel like, well, maybe we could move on from Malcolm. That's what we want from Tyree.
Yeah.
Even though I wouldn't be, excited about them moving on from Malcolm Kuntz, but we want Tyree to make that. We want them to make that more difficult. That's what we want.
Yeah. Would you be again? I mean, because as I had a whole list to talk to you about. Then as we talk, I got more stuff, so I'm just trying to get through all of it. But would you be opposed to, let's just say, usually they don't let players like Dak Prescott, who are highly productive quarterbacks, walk. Would you be opposed to the Raiders signing Dak Prescott to a long-term deal
No,
with the current with the current skill position players they have on the squad?
I wouldn't. Because Dak has his issues in the playoffs, and I know that. But I do. I know I'd feel comfortable in the regular season. I'm like, okay, we're probably gonna make the playoffs, right? We're gonna make the playoffs. We're gonna do something. We might even give.
He won a playoff game. He won a playoff game. Yeah,
I think he's won two, right? I think he's won two.
Yeah, I mean, like we haven't won one since 2002. So like people like I'm just saying.
Right. And the thing is, like he's out there, he's moving around, and he would keep Devante here. Devante would be super happy if he came over here.
He would go nuts. He retired here. He retired a
Yeah,
Raider. He
yeah,
retired a Raider.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And you still have Jacoby Myers, you still have all those guys. He could play really well. He would maximize the tight ends. It would be a really good offense. They still have a
Yeah.
really good offense, not a really good offensive line, but they got some potential there to have one, right? So if they bring him in, that would be really good too. And to be honest, I mean Stafford's on a 1 year, $40 million deal. I saw that today. I saw that and I was like, whoa, that's interesting.
They were so according to Michael Lombardi, they were trying to trade him because they were trying to get up into the draft to get because they kind of want to move on, but they don't have anybody to they don't have an heir apparent. And
Yeah.
so but it's the injury thing I worry about with Stafford, but Stafford could sling it. I mean, and
Yeah.
I like Dak and Matt because they've been in a quarterback, they've been wide receivers who all want the football. Like you know what I mean. So playing with CeeDee Lamb, playing with Puka, playing with Cooper Cup, like all that stuff matters. Like I gotta know how he wants the ball and all those things like that. That would be kind of cool if that could happen too as well. And that could be 2-year deal, and then you draft somebody and groom them and groom them for the future. As far as that goes.
100%.
So is Dylan Lobby Woodhead or McCaffrey? It's like what
He's in between.
is it
I'm not
between?
gonna go.
Okay, okay.
I'm not gonna go McCaffrey, but he's in between. I think third down this year, you're gonna see him a lot. I think he's already.
Oh yes, he's the back on third down already.
Yeah.
Jesus Lord.
I think Amir Abdullah might get cut. To be honest, if we're looking at it that way, I mean, it depends on if they really like Abdullah on special teams. The special team coach loves him. I don't know how it's gonna work, but I think Lobby blocks better than him. That's the thing. He's a better blocker, has a better understanding of picking up blitzes. And Abdullah he understands how to pick up blitzes, but he just gets creamed all the time. So
Yeah.
Lobby has a better does a better job there. He's bigger than Abdullah, and he catches the football just as well. And also, you can go empty with Dylan Lobby out there, and you can put him in the slot, and he can get some targets too. And you can be a little outlet. He'll make some guys miss in the open field.
Is he quicker than is he faster than quick or quicker than he's more quick and quick and elusive. Okay. That's okay.
He has some game speed though. I'll give him that. He has some game speed.
Okay.
He has some game speed. I mean, I know it was Central Michigan, but he still went from 250 on them. So, or actually, he put 296 receiving against them at New Hampshire, and playing with those guys, and those guys were not good around him. So he has a lot of upside as a third down back, and he could be a high level third down back in my opinion. And I think he's going to be on the field a lot week one. I think he's already got he's getting first team snaps already. He's picked up the offense really well. Seems like a pretty smart guy. So yeah, I think he could be that guy. I don't know how much carries you're going to give him, right? If guys go down, does he fill in as a running back? Maybe you think that, but he's more Austin Eckler. You heard Austin Eckler say I'm not going to be that guy. He gets the ball a lot. He even said that. I don't know why he said that as a running back, but he said that. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah. So yeah. So just so you know, Commanders, if everybody goes down and I'm the only back here, go sign somebody because I'm not taking all these carries. Like Jesus Lord, God forbid I do my job. God damn. No wonder Harbaugh was like, get the hell out of here with this. You gonna tell me how many carries? Like usually Harbaugh's probably like, usually you guys want the ball. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what is going on? Jesus God.
Yeah, I guess.
That's terrible.
I guess it's knowing yourself. I don't know. But that's what I mean. I don't know how much Lobby can do that now.
Rookie year.
He does have some upside there. He's pretty good at college there. So
okay.
We'll see.
He was dominant. So that's why when you're in a smaller school, that's the first thing I look for when I'm doing when they're doing research for the draft. I'm like, was he a dominant player there? Like he was dominant. Like, you know what I mean? So and everybody knew he was getting the ball, and he still did some stuff there. So we'll see what happens there. Your overall thoughts wrapped up into one about the receiver.
The show. Thank God Jimmy Garoppolo's gone. I think that was we almost lost Devante. What we saw on that show is that we did almost lose Devante Adams. I think that's what the Raiders almost lost Devante Adams for sure. Like that was close. It was probably way closer than we thought. Like even there's rumors, of course, but I mean, obviously, there were definitely some talks. I'm sure that he was saying some things to Josh McDaniels and stuff like that,
Yeah,
letting him know, and
yeah. I
just from
gotta
any
go.
reactions, right? I mean, because
Yeah.
even the wins, right? He was pissed in the wins. It didn't matter because
Oh, it
just
was
bringing
because
in Jimmy
they
Garoppolo.
looked so ugly.
Yeah,
Yeah, the wins look so ugly. It's like he knows what it looks like. So yeah, it was
yeah,
bad.
and he likes Aiden O'Connell. You see something in Aiden that a lot of us don't see. I mean, he's with him every day, so he does appreciate Aiden and does like him. So he's happy right now, but
Mhm.
yeah, I think, I mean, like I said, Aiden has that. He's so volatile that it's going to be interesting to see how he plays this year. But I think Adams will get his. I
Yeah,
think he's going to make sure that he gets his. It's just not going to be the same way that we saw it before. There's going to be a lot more of the dink and dunking and getting in the ball in space so he can make guys miss, stuff like that. They're
yeah.
going to be real dependent on Yak this year. I'm going to say that.
On this in this offense, yeah, it would seem so. Hard Knocks, our favorite GM. Like, what is like? I mean, I mean, there's moments in life where when your boss is literally telling you, "Hey, listen, if Saquon goes to the Eagles, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about that." And you still make that happen. You still make it. You still do that. I found that it just it wasn't. I mean, I know these things are cut up in a certain way, but it didn't make Joe Shane look good.
No, not at all. And the thing is with him, and which worries me about a little bit about Tom Telesco too. I'm gonna just tie them in. Is that I call these guys, and we talked about this a little bit,
Yeah, PFF.
PFF GMs,
Yeah,
right? Where they're all analytics, right? They're all the value and all this other stuff instead of like looking at your team and what would make my team win.
yep,
Like, forget the value. Like, okay, yeah, sure, quarterback's value is higher than a running back's value. You don't pay running backs over 20, all those things. But, you see somebody like Brad Holmes. Brad Holmes has Jared Goff, and he drafted Jameer Gibbs, and everybody was like, "What are you doing? Why would you draft a running back at 12?" And they're in the NFC Championship game because they have Jameer Gibbs, and he's running all over the place. And
yeah,
Jared Goff's just throwing him a little swing route, and he's going 70 yards. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it,
exactly.
it's knowing your personnel, knowing football, right? Because it's still football at the end of the day. We could do all the analytics and all these things, and a lot of these analytics that we see, and like we see these type of JMs, they're falling out really quick. Even we have Telesco now, but we have Brandon Staley, and they were the analytics kings. They were everybody's favorite, right? And then
Smartest guys in the room.
yeah, exactly, and that flamed out for them a little bit too, right? And
Yeah,
and you kind of see that with Joe Schoen. I mean, you could tell that he's the analytics, what the value is, these guys, what we want to do, these draft picks, that he moves that way, and sometimes you just got to think, how do I win? It's not really
yeah,
the value of a player. I don't pay a running back that much. Like, sure, that's cool, and you feel that way, but if you got Daniel Jones,
yeah,
then he needs Saquon Barkley, right?
yeah,
Jared Goff needs Jameer Gibbs. He needs David Montgomery. He
yeah,
needs those guys so he can be in play action and things like that. That's knowing your
yeah.
team,
100%.
right? And that's different. That's where it comes down to me. It's like you got to know your football team, and you just
Yeah,
can't make decisions based on how you feel the value of something is, and that's how you pay Daniel Jones 40 million, and then you have to let Saquon Barkley go because you're going off value. So
yeah.
that's it ties into Tom Telesco a little bit too. So that's what you get worried about with him. Jacobs is out on his I hate the Raiders run. He said something else about the Raiders today. He's on his I hate the Raiders run still. I don't know why he won't stop talking about the Raiders, but it went with that. Do you bring
Listen,
back Jacobs? You not, but it is what it is.
Josh, just make sure in that playoff game you don't put the ball on the floor. I'm just letting you know. Just letting you know. I'm just saying, like you got. I mean, like just move on. You're
Yeah.
playing. You're playing with a franchise that goes to the playoffs all the time. Just move on. I still couldn't believe when it didn't even dawn on him, Joe Shane, when the guy said, "So if we lose Saquon, what's our identity offensively?" And he really didn't even have an answer. So I was like,
Because
dude. I was like, this is the nepotism in that league is laughable. Really quick, the 6 quarterbacks went in the first round. We all know the teams they're going to and their situations. Can you I'm gonna just throw a name out there? Can you just give me like just a positive thing about their situation? I'll start with Caleb Williams.
I think Caleb Williams is in the best situation that I've ever seen a rookie quarterback have.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got Keelan Allen, DJ Moore,
Good
uh,
play caller.
good play caller. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
he's in one of the best situations you could ever think of. He's got and they're a damn good defense in that year, man. They got Sweat. You know, they got Tremaine Edmonds, TJ Edwards. Inside they're pretty damn good. They're good at the secondary. They got Jalen Johnson. They got Kevin Byard now.
Yeah.
He's in the best situation I've ever seen. And you know, and it kind of goes into Justin Fields, right? Justin Fields had a similar team and couldn't do anything with it. And it gave Caleb Williams a presence. So I think the Bears are gonna probably be a lot better. I think he's of course he's gonna have to learn to play NFL quarterback where I saw Kurt Warner talking about this today, like being a playmaker versus making those just
Highlight
the boring
plays.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
he's gonna have to mix
Take
it
the
up.
boring play. I've heard you say that before. Just take the boring play and move the chains and just if the outs there is fine. Don't hold it for the spin around. All the craziness.
Yeah, but I like Caleb a lot. I think Caleb was one of my favorite prospects in a long time. So I think he's gonna be really good, and I think he took he actually got better from his sophomore year to his junior year. I felt like, but I just think the USC team just crumbled around him,
Yeah.
but he got better, right? And I think he's gonna he's showing some leadership early on. I think he's gonna have a good year.
Yeah. Jane Daniels.
Jay Daniels could be. I think he's. I mean, just Washington is just not that good of a team.
Mm-hmm.
Still, I think he's gonna struggle a little bit, but he's got Terry McLaurin, and I think Terry McLaurin's gonna eat, and I think he's gonna put up some good numbers over there. I think he's gonna have a decent rookie year, but we'll see. I mean, if he can run the ball and stay healthy, I think he's really gonna play well. But he's also a pretty good passer, man. He's gonna get them fades in. I saw some good fades. He's already throwing at camp. I think he's gonna do well. I think he's gonna do well out there.
I didn't realize I was going through a purge of my content on my pictures and photos, and I didn't realize how many videos of Michael Penix I had because I thought he was going to be a Raider. But Michael Penix, possibly sitting a year behind Kirk Cousins.
I'm still mad at the Falcons for that because I still think the Raiders take him. I have a feeling. I just have a feeling the Raiders are going to take him, and the Falcons just stole him. Like nobody in the NFL. You talk about Hard Knocks. They had no idea that anybody was going to take him, right? And
Those
then
wins at the end of the season, if they had one less win, those wins were costly. If they had one less win, they'd be in the top 10. They'd be like 8. Oh my god, brutal.
Yeah, so the Falcons just stole him. I don't know how it's gonna work, but I mean, Kirk Cousins is not the most liked quarterback in the world. So if he starts off bad, man, them birds will chirp.
Oh
So
yes. Yes.
I mean, he's got a lot of talent around him too, and teams won't, the fans will be ready to see Michael Penix come in there and see what he can do. So because I heard he's having a pretty good camp out there. So.
Yeah, he's dude. In the NFL, some guys are just gonna like even be better in the NFL because everything is more defined and clear, and they just throw. They already have the ability to throw dots. So, and he was throwing dots in practice the other day. So we'll see what happens there. JJ McCarthy.
JD's gonna be interesting, man. I think he's having an up and down camp, from what I've been seeing. Has some good moments, some bad moments, but I think JJ's a tough guy. So we'll see. Uh, I was doing my quarterback rankings just right before we recorded this, and
Yeah.
I asked him like how many games would Sam Darnold actually play if he actually plays. So JJ's gonna play this year. He's probably gonna play a lot, and we'll see how good he's gonna be. But he's always been he's a point guard. He's a leader. That's basically what he is. He's all intangibles. He's intangibles. That's what he is. He's leadership guy. So we'll see how that translates to the NFL.
And I mean, and then also, I mean, he talk about good situations. Addison Jefferson is not a terrible situation to be coming into as far as that goes. Bo Nix in Denver.
I don't know. I think Steady's gonna hold that job for a while in Denver. I think Steady's gonna hold that job. I think he's gonna
half the season maybe.
Yeah, half the season type of thing, and the Knicks
Yeah.
comes in to end the year after the Broncos are very good. So I mean, because their roster is not good at all. So, but I think Jarrett Stidham, I wish the Raiders would have re-signed him instead of Jimmy Garoppolo. I think they would have went a whole lot better last year. So, but I think that he's gonna be fine over there in Denver. But I think Bo Nix not gonna play that much. But Bo is just boring as hell. That's really what it is. He's Mr. like straight edge, boring quarterback. He's one of the most boring quarterbacks to watch on film. So, but that's not always a bad thing.
Yeah.
But he doesn't scare me at all.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Marcus Johnson, Tape Don't Lie, and a bunch of other stuff. As far as quarterback show, got the Friday night show, everything going on, betting show, all stuff like that. So we got all that stuff like that. So it's podcasting is a new drug, man. That's why I got 3 shows myself. It's crazy. You're like, oh yeah, I got another idea. Let me do another show. So, all right, brother. Thank you for joining us here, man. Take care, brother.
All right, bro, man.
Yeah.